Republicans are in a desperate panic to suppress an audio recording of the Texas Speaker of the House talking about a political hit list, which is just ringing sort of inappropriate or out of touch given the constant gun violence problems that we're dealing with in the United States. There is a recording that was made by a right-wing activist, Michael Sullivan, of his meeting with Texas House Speaker Dennis Bonnen. So understand, this is all right-wingers. It's a right-wing activist, right-wing Texas Speaker of the House. Sullivan has a PAC, and Bonnen gave him a hit list of people to target in the primaries in Texas, okay, in the Republican primaries. Republicans have heard the tape, and they are doing everything that they can, everything they can think of, everything they can imagine to stop its release. Texas Republican Steve Toth called it, quote, damaging and embarrassing. And there's actually two layers here that we should be talking about. The first layer is this imagery of a hit list. They couldn't be more out of touch. Mitch McConnell's campaign recently did something similar. They tweeted a picture of a graveyard with the names of political opponents, including McConnell's primary opponent, McConnell's general election challenger, Amy McGrath, photoshopped onto headstones. They just can't help themselves. So the violent imagery is issue number one. The second issue is that the Republicans don't want their own infighting made public. This is a list of Republicans to target in primaries that was assembled by Republicans. So obviously, for both reasons, I want this thing released. I would love to hear this tape, and we should do everything we can to get it released. But then let's zoom out just a little bit. That this is happening in Texas specifically is panicking Republicans nationally, because Texas is one of the few single states that is keeping Republicans in control nationally. If Texas stops being reliably red and becomes a purple state, either purple in terms of its representation in Washington, D.C. at the national level, or purple in terms of its internal House of Representatives, at some point in the future, Republicans may really suffer nationally and potentially even be affected for a generation if that were to happen. So the Republicans are particularly panicked because it's Texas. Now, I've talked before about how the left really cannot fall for Donald Trump's attempt to divide and distract. For example, when we talked about his fomenting the divide between Nancy Pelosi and the squad and pumping up that infighting. We don't want to allow Donald Trump to divide the left in this way. In this case, we want this Republican Texas infighting to grow as much as possible for the same reason, that it is going to divide them and potentially hurt them. Now, let me get to something else. You know how Democrats handle sexual assault very differently than Republicans handle sexual assault by members of their own respective parties? When Anthony Weiner was caught, sexting with a minor and doing all sorts of other stuff, who on the left was defending Weiner? I don't remember anyone defending Weiner. When Al Franken was caught, Democrats probably went too far in demanding that he resign. The left is not only different when it comes to sexual assault by members of their own party, the left is different on this cover-up stuff. And what I mean by that is, if I found out today that Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren or whoever had been caught on a recording saying something disgusting or damaging or counter to the values that I believe the left should espouse, I would want it public immediately. I would want to hear it. I would want to comment on it. And I would want to get truly problematic people out of the movement because they hurt my movement. There are enclaves of this blind worship of the left around some 2020 candidates, which I've talked about. I won't name them, but most of the left would not be trying to cover up something equivalent to this. We would want it out. We would want the people dealt with, and we would want to move on with people that we feel good about. They are really different than us, okay? I want to win, but I want to win without stooping to their level, okay? So I've said before, listen, heckling a politician in public in a nonviolent way, this is okay, and we've got to be okay with it. But I don't want to stoop to their tactics to win, even though I do want to win. And that's why it makes this so complicated. Let's hope, at least in the interim, in the immediate, that the audio is released. And I will be talking about this and much more tonight during a live Twitch event at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. I hope you'll join me at twitch.tv/David Pakman, and we can talk about this or anything else you want to. Should be a great event. Make sure you're following me on Twitter at dpakman. And while you're there, follow the David Pakman Show on Twitter at David Pakman Show. We will take a quick break and be back with much more. A lot of really good stuff on today's program. If you love learning new things, you probably want to check this out. The David Pakman Show today is sponsored by Skillshare, and we're giving you 2 entire months of free access to Skillshare when you click the link underneath this video. Skillshare is a vibrant online learning community offering more than 25,000 video classes on just about anything you can think of. Get better at playing an instrument. Learn to use Photoshop. How to edit videos. They have classes on drawing, painting, business, cooking, nutrition, personal productivity, and I'm not even really scratching the surface. I recently took a great class on introductory watercolor painting. I'm still not good, but I am learning, and you can access the entire library of fun, easy to use online courses for free for 2 months by using the link underneath this video. 2 months of learning something that's totally new to you, something you want to get better at, something you already love, or you can get ahead in your career by learning new skills that will help you at your job. I've gotten a ton out of it. Pat has taken some courses that he's found really valuable, and I think you'll love it too. Get started for free by clicking the link under this video.